Hey YouTube, Karina here, and the title of this video is basically self-explanatory. Manipulation comes in many forms, okay? It can come in the form of guilt trips. It can come in the form of gifts coming from someone and you feel like an uneasiness about accepting it because you feel like there is a sense of indebtment behind it. Nah. Yeah, just watch who you receive gifts from. Seriously. Especially if you know this person is not prone to give gifts, or if they do, um pretty much there's ill intentions attached to it. Not everybody that gives gifts is out to manipulate, but you better pray about it and see what is the motive behind it. And also, people who want to manipulate, sometimes what they'll do is, if you find out what they're doing and you tell them about it, then they start quickly throwing shots like, oh, well, I helped you out, so you owe me. If what you're asking someone to do is wrong, but they're trying to make you to decide, they're trying to get you to decide to do something that is like off the rock or wrong, and I'm just being like broad statement, then that's manipulation. Yeah, that's manipulation. Or it's like, I guess I can say, to put it in like an easier way, to the easier visualization. If anybody has seen that movie Norbit, the way Rasputia was treating Norbit, and when he got fed up with it and he walked out that door, usually if someone is manipulative, they will say such things as, well, I got you when you didn't have nothing, and you da 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 da, and you ain't gonna be blah da 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 da, whatever, without me. He just kept walking, he ignored it. Sometimes people will talk to you like that. That's not just a movie, that's life. You actually probably encountered someone who will do you like that. That's manipulation. And to pull out the last trick in the hat. No, but please, I'm with child. Yeah, that's a whole nother story altogether. That's a whole nother video for another time that I'm probably not going to be making. But then again, you never know. Anywho, manipulation comes in many forms. It can be like someone doing something as small as taking a scripture saying honor your mother and father, but won't read down and say, fathers, provoke not your children to wrath. Or telling a 40-something-year-old child, and I'm just using a broad statement, you're supposed to honor me. If I tell you that this person is good for you to marry, then you should marry them just because I said so. You can't manipulate an adult child into being with someone who is probably not God's will for them. Possibly not. Because if they have a relationship with Christ, He can speak to them. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm taking a sip of my coffee. Let it happen. More than a sip. Loving it. Anyway, you can't manipulate somebody into being with someone. You just can't. Or if a child should choose to be with someone, or a cousin, or whoever in your family, they choose to be with someone, and both parties want to be together, they want to be married, and they've already consulted God about it, then let it be. I mean, if you make a choice for somebody and they do what you wanted them to do, not only was it manipulation if they didn't want to do it, but also the repercussions that could be behind it could cause them to resent you later on. So, why manipulate? Why? You have some people who will keep record of your wrongs just to use it against you later. I was watching a few videos on YouTube on testimonies when people found their God ordained spouse and they were happy and telling their testimonies. Like 99% of the ones that I watched were so, you could tell that God was in it, around it, right on down to the way they met. And some of them had situations that were not so great. Some of them had breakups in between. Some of them had marriages in between. Some of them had some like pretty colorful stories. But this one made me cry so hard because it was so much manipulation in it. And the demeanor and the attitude of the person doing the manipulating, I don't want to say if it was male or female. Yeah, I'm going to say it was the female. Because it's like this. When two people decide to make a video and say, this is our story, this is what happened, and how God says so and so was the one to me, and then told it to her, or told it to her, then told it to me. This was almost like worst case scenario manipulation. I mean, I'd seen it before personally, but not in this particular manner. And I think I made a video about manipulation in marriage maybe a few weeks ago. But then to see it, it was almost like gut wrenching, like more. I mean, to see that, okay, it don't just happen in some situations. It happens a lot more often than a lot of people want to realize or they want to admit to. Because it's like a lot of times people will hide behind God and say that he said something if he truly didn't say it. Because when God really tells you something, you feel a peace about it, you feel a happiness about it, you feel an excitement about it, you feel a joy about it. Especially something as joyous as finding true love. I mean, when he is really truly in that, I mean, wow, it's just no words to describe. But back to the video, the parts that made me cry. This has nothing to do with the person's anointing, because clearly this person is extremely anointed. I mean, you can hear it in her tone, her voice. You could hear it in the things that she say. But we could be anointed and still operating under manipulation with people. Like I said, anybody that has to get somebody by manipulation and not by love, God's not in that. He's really not. We can say praise be. We can say glory be to God. We could say Jesus did this. We could say anything we want to say. And it was heartbreaking because this person's sermons slash podcast was like off the chain, seriously. But then when it came down to the telling the stories of how you got your mate, my jaw dropped. I was like, I'm sorry, I can't watch this anymore. Most of the women that were with their husbands telling their testimonies were holding hands, looking into each other's eyes, talking, happy, sharing their stories, and you could just literally feel, like I say, God in it, on it, around it, everything, watching over it, everything. But there's this particular one, she was sitting behind her husband, and she was telling him, tell him how sometimes God say no to your desires. The look on his face, his countenance was, it's almost like you could see his heart ache. And she was basically playing on it. From the positioning to the talking to the everything about it. It was gut-wrenching. He looked like he was fighting to hold back tears. Okay? While she's sitting there just primping. Good as to say, boom, I got your boyfriend. I got the desire of your heart. I got him. Yeah, might have been for you, but I got him. And I couldn't, it was so hard to watch, but I just really wanted to see, was it just me thinking this? Or was this just what I was feeling? I actually prayed about it and I kept watching the video. And yeah, manipulation. Sometimes we don't want to see manipulation because of who a person is. We got to look past these personalities. If a person is manipulative and they trying to hide it, it's going to come out sooner or later. But let me get back to it. She basically kept him rehearsing his pain. And you could clearly see it in his eyes and hear it in the tone of his voice. The love that he had inside for a person that he felt like God said was his. If you really delight in yourself in the Lord, He'll give you the desires of your heart. And if that person you're desiring in your heart is desiring you too, and you let God put it together the way He wants to, enough said. But if you have to be like, well, I desire this in my heart, but time is ticking and things are moving too slow, so I'm going to just go ahead and pray something else, and I'm just going to ask for something else, and you think you swept the desire of your heart away, and you really didn't sweep it away. What you did was just, you covered it up. You didn't sweep it away into the wind. You just covered it up with something else. It's almost like the feeling he had was the feeling I had about trying to ignore what was really in my heart and try and put somebody else over it. That's wrong. Because of a personality told you to do it. I mean, I'll wait an eternity. I'll wait an eternity for the husband God have for me. Because I'm not willing to settle for carbon copies. Besides, God knows when to get it to you. God knows how to get it to you. And when you know that and fully understand that, you're not going to cry about where is my God ordained husband or where is my God ordained wife. And also, that watching that made me, like I said, I cried. It broke me down, especially the way she was being like prideful about it. I mean, when you really love someone and y'all got together, the thoughts on your mind are not going to be, as a woman, from a woman's standpoint, the thoughts on you, because I can't say what a man is thinking because I'm not a man and I'm not going to ever be a man. From a woman's standpoint, if she really is wrapped up in love with the person that is for her, she's gonna be excited to be in this person's presence. She's not gonna be thinking about how can I get my mug on so people can see, yeah, I got him. No, she's gonna be happy, joyous that he's with her, and won't have to go out of her way to show people, hey, look, I got the desire of your heart. I know he want you. I know he love you. But guess what? I got the desire of your heart. What? Yeah. Okay. Do it. Because you really don't know what life can bring, okay? Especially if you have been married before and you're not married no more. A lot of times we put stuff together and we say God did it, but if he really did it, we're not going to have no pain or sorrow attached to it, waking up every day with regret. And this is what I had to tell myself. I can't live a lie. I don't want to live a lie. I don't want to be engaged to marry someone because time is ticking. Like I said in a past video, one of the past videos, and I'm saying it in this video, when love is real, it's not going to fade. Doesn't matter how many years y'all be together. Doesn't matter how many years you spend apart. Doesn't matter whatever. The world's standpoint, how the world views things is not how God views things. People like to say what God joins together, let no man put asunder. Clearly, if God joined it together, God don't use cheap glue, okay? God is a strong bond, okay? He's like that E6000 glue, okay? And for those of y'all that do arts and crafts or DIY projects and know what E6000 glue is, it's that glue that will hold on to whatever you put on it. You can try to rip it apart. You can do whatever you want to. Like after 48 hours, you can try to rip it apart. That glue, it's as good as made that way. You better just call it carved out of the same piece of material, because once God is at E6000 glue, okay? Now, if you try to put something together with Elmer's glue, that's going to dry. Might stay for a little while and break apart. But God is at E6000 glue. He is that, when he put it together, no man separated. Okay? We like to say a lot that God did something. When a lot of times, and I've seen this happen in my own life and then in the lives of some people around me, they like to say, oh, God put this together. When really, it was family members who sat down and discussed and said, okay, it would be in her best interest to marry him because this, or to be in his best interest to marry her because this, or vice versa. It's like they will like pro and con it to see what's what. But I'm talking about when people force other people into things that their heart is not really set on. Sometimes they there because they don't want to disappoint the person that decided to put them in that. See, me, the type of person I am, I'm not gonna sit and do something too long that somebody wants me to do if it don't sit right with me in my heart. You might get me and try and trap me and tie me up, bind me, put a chain on me. But you know what? When I get my thinking right, and I say, God, is this what you want for my life? And he say, no, then it's done. I don't care who get disappointed because I won't keep something that's no good for me in my life. If God is happy for me getting rid of controlling and manipulative people from my life, then I could care less who don't like it. That means you love me with conditions. If you only love me if I'm willing to stay in a situation that is not good for me spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, or any type of way you can think of, then what was your reasons to keep me with that person? Was this person beneficial to you? Was this person going to play a part in your plans later on somehow? I mean, what is it? That's one thing about me that if anybody who knows me personally knows, when I get my mind made up to do something and I pray about it and God say, no, don't do it. Or if I do it and God say no, don't do it, get out of that situation, I get out of the situation. Because people will try to use any form of manipulation to suit them. Why can't people just be happy seeing two people who love each other very much be together? And why can't people accept that if something is not E6000 stuck together, that something God didn't put together? Why are you trying to put masking tape around it? Stop it. When God don't want something to be, he don't want it to be. If he wants something to be, can't no devil in hell stop it. He can try. I mean, I didn't know I was manipulated for like most of my life. Through ever since I was little, I've been manipulated and didn't even know it. If you tell a person they ain't loved and they ain't never gonna be loved, they hear that enough times, and then when love comes along, they'll think, oh, this person couldn't possibly love me. First sign that it looked like the person running, you jumping and trying to dive off into something else, and you be like, oh, I didn't lost nothing because, oh, I was told nobody wasn't gonna love me. That is not true. If you don't have nobody speaking words of encouragement in your ear while you are young, don't expect your thoughts to change, especially if they're twisting the word of God to get their will established in your life instead of God's will established in your life and for your life. It's like this. I was going to church younger and everything like that, but there was a lot of manipulation, and I grew up believing things that when I got older I found out wasn't even much true. Okay? I mean, you see people get married and then in church, and then you next thing you know, you see them one Sunday covering a black eye. I mean, you tell me how God is in that. And somebody say he put that together. I don't think so. Or telling a person, don't you eat that honey bun. Now, if you gain a couple of pounds, I'm going to start looking because I know what I like and somebody want it. You don't, God didn't put that together neither. I don't know if I mentioned this in a past video. There's an artist, Musiq Soulchild, has this song called, I think it's called Don't Change. Yeah, Don't Change. If you see the video to this song, he's basically singing to the woman that he's gonna marry. It's like he's singing a promise to her. And if you watch the video and see, like, she went through some changes, seriously. They were in a car. There was an accident. She lost feeling of her legs. She couldn't move no more, but you know what? She was in her wheelchair at the altar. He married her still. You know why? He said he would love her no matter what, long as her love don't change. I mean, if you know the words to the song or you've seen the video, I mean, I listen to music that's gonna like make me happy, uplift me, positive messages. I mean, I don't want to hear somebody talking about smacking that and shooting that and whatever like that. I don't care for all that. But this song right here, if you heard the song before and you know how pretty it is and you see the video, you can't tell me you gonna watch that video and not have some kind of emotion. Seriously. He's basically explaining everything to her, letting her know, you're all I want and need, you know, telling her he'll love her if her hair turns gray, he'll love her if she gain a little weight. The way he feel for her gonna always be the same, long as her love don't change. Some of y'all hollering about, don't listen to this, don't listen to that. Not y'all, I mean, if you watching this and you know what I'm talking about, then clearly I'm not speaking to you. But, I mean, some songs carry messages that we need. I mean, and because it's not coming through to you in a particular form, quick to dismiss it. Don't put God in a box. He can work in any way he wants to. Okay, how do you think he gets sinners from wherever they at out? I knew somebody who said that, you know, they just was feeling like God wanted them to change their life and everything. And every time she got in a car or she turned the radio on, it was always some song on about like desperately seeking change in their life, and they just knew that things had to be different and they wanted to get out, and that they were tired of having to watch their back. I mean, just all type of different songs, and this person kept hearing it and she felt convicted. True story. Person kept hearing it, kept getting convicted, ended up going, gave her life to Christ and everything. So you can't say that God don't speak to you through music. He speaks to you through anything, any kind of way. That's the beauty about him. He can speak to anybody that he created, whether he speaks to you in a dream, through his word. I mean, of course, everything he say gonna line up with the word anyway. That Music Soul Child song. We talking about that agape love. That I love you regardless, okay? Yeah. Seriously. So, let no one manipulate you. Let no one deceive you. I want love in its purest form. The one that can't wait to get back home with me. Like, I can't wait to get back home with them once our days are finished. As long as no manipulation is involved. Their past and my past, whatever their past is, whatever my past is, it's not going to scare them. Because they're going to be so in love with you. It's not going to matter. Because the past is the past. Okay? Don't manipulate nobody. And don't love with conditions. Please. And I'm out. Talk to y'all later. Bye.